Since we couldn't really get a panel together this week, and since we couldn't get really anyone today since most of my friends are at OhioCon, hope everyone's having fun, we decided to do a little filler episode where I'm just going to sit here and talk about a subject that I just picked out of a multitude of stuff. Someone commented on our Facebook post wanting me to discuss the differences between the Star Trek and Star Wars universes, and that includes the expanded universe, comics, video games, etc. That would be opening up a can of worms that I would like to leave sealed and buried in the middle of the Sahara. But it did give me an idea on talking about the upcoming video games and the current games of those said universes. We're going to talk about Star Wars 1313, The Old Republic, Star Trek Online, and the upcoming Star Trek video game. Let's go ahead and start off with the Star Wars side of the spectrum, with 1313. Not a lot has been said about the story. I've looked, as of right now, I can't really find a lot of anything. The only thing I can find set in stone is that it is a third-person action-adventure game that puts you in the role of a bounty hunter navigating Coruscant's subterranean level 1313 as you try to uncover the truth around a criminal conspiracy. It's a more mature, gritty direction compared to past Star Wars video games, and it's supposed to emphasize the fast-paced, gadget, weapon-based combat using tools exclusive to bounty hunters, rather than force and lightsaber combat. Which that's kind of me being a Trekkie, that's kind of appealing to me, because the last few Star Wars games, that's all you seem to ever do. So Force Unleashed is a prime example. You use Force, and Force Lightning, Force skills, all of that, and while it was kind of gritty, it was still meh. What was interesting about this game is that it was actually developed along with ILM and Lucas Animation side by side, rather than one working on it and then the other getting it. Both are working on it simultaneously. So that was kind of a little pointer. The game is coming out, so far from what I've been told, PC and 360. No portable version of this game will be made. It is being developed on top of the Unreal 3 engine. That's about all I've got on that game. They did have at E3 a couple gameplay footages, which you should be seeing on top of here. Hopefully, if YouTube will not. The to-be release date is next year, which seems like they're trying to top it off, which that's good. I'm glad they're keeping it in there and working on it. Alright, so since I don't really know much about that, let's move on to something else that I was able to get solid info on. Star Wars The Old Republic. This is an MMO based around the past of the Star Wars universe, way in the past, 300 years after the events of the Knights of the Old Republic video game, and more than 3,500 years before any of the Star Wars films. The main story is the Jedi are held responsible for the success of the Sith during the devastating 28-year-long Great Galactic War, which led to the Treaty of Coruscant prior to the Cold War, and thus chose to relocate from Coruscant to Tython, where the Jedi Order had initially been founded, to seek guidance from the Force. The Sith control Korriban, where they re-established a Sith Academy. The game begins 10 years later as the new conflict arises. Their gameplay-wise is you have two factions. You have the Galactic Republic and then you have the Sith Empire. Each faction has its benevolent or malevolent leader, but the game emphasizes on a individual's member morality. You can go from light to dark, which it seems to me more or less what the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic was. For instance, you can belong to the Galactic Republic, but you can belong to the dark side of the Force, achieving your own ends. Species. Both sides have humans, Cyborg, Twi'lek, and Zabrak. Republic races are Milarak and Milaran. Pardon if I mispronounce, remember I'm new to this universe. While the Empire races are Triss, Fratadak, and Sith Pureblood. Personally, this game, since, like I said, I am a Trekkie, I wasn't big to jump in on this. It's mostly ground combat. You do get your own spaceship, but the space combat is more or less a tunnel shooter. It's a scroller. Here's your ship, here's the enemy ship, and you're doing this, which some would say is very heroic, action-packed, exciting, all that. That seems very archaic. And for an MMO, it's kind of I mean, you could see it as a mini game, or that's what you like, I suppose. But personally, it's not really my thing. If I want to play a game like that, where the space combat is that, I want it to be just space combat, and that's it. But some info about this game: it is the most, if my numbers are accurate, it took about 150 to 200 million to develop this game, which makes it the most expensive video game developed. Now, one would think that it would be a great, fantastic game, and some people think that. However, to start, in its first 3 days of release, it had a 1.7 million subscribers. Within the following months, it went to 1.3, and then it kind of went downhill from there. Shortly thereafter, they went to free to play, and then, which according to I forget the exact source. Let me look it up here just real quick. I can't find it. Well, it was said that you need 500,000 to remain profitable. So at least 500,000 paid subscribers to remain profitable. So that's where it's kind of lining at. Some Star Wars fans weren't happy with the story, with the Sith and Jedi kind of working together, from what I was told. But like I said, never played it. I have no desire to play it. It's not because it's a Star Wars game. It just doesn't seem appealing to me. But the reception, however, has been positive. It's gotten decent reviews all over the board. I'm not going to put a review on it because I've never played it. So, whereas Star Wars 1313, it's coming out next year. When it comes out, I'll probably play it and give you a review on that. Okay, let's switch to something I know dear and near to my heart. Star Trek. Let's start off with the Star Trek video game coming out later this year, April 23rd to be exact. This game is set in the new universe introduced in the 2009 blockbuster movie of the same name. The story, as of yet, is a little murky. We know that the classic villain, the Gorn, are coming back. They're a reptilian species known for their ferocity and territorial claims. So, might have something to go along with that. Might even be a rehash of the classic episode Arena. I would be interested in that. That would be kind of cool. This is a single-player co-op game where the player either controls Kirk or Spock, and who you're controlling depends on how the gameplay is. Kirk is your typical shooter, gung-ho guy, as you'd expect, and Spock focuses more on stealth and can use the Vulcan neck pinch and the mind meld. And their weapons reflect on that, whereas Kirk has a rifle, and Spock's weapons freezes his enemies. The entire movie cast, Karl Urban, Simon Pegg, Zoe Saldana, Anton Yelchin, sorry if I butcher these names, John Cho, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, they're all coming back for this film, or game, I'm sorry. I was told though that this game is separate from either movie, including the one coming out in May. What I do know is that this, from what the writers say, it's the same writers from the movies. This is going to be canon to that universe. So if you've been reading the comics, following up, it's all going to be canon. Okay. Star Trek Online. The game has been out for the past 2 years now. In fact, their 2-year anniversary is coming up shortly. Actually, I think their 3-year anniversary. Yeah, their 3-year anniversary. I'm sorry. Their 3-year anniversary is coming up. They've just released, a month ago, Season 7, New Romulus, showcasing a new adventure zone, new ships, new PvEs. The game is set almost 30, 40 years after Star Trek Nemesis. In the year, it starts off in the year 2409, which means it's a completely blank slate. Everything else in the movies is canon, and everything established as canon, including the new movie from that standpoint where Spock and Nero travel back in time, but it is assumed they died. So that's all canon. In the game, the story is the Khitomer Accords that have held the peace between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets has broken down in its all-out war. Romulus has been destroyed, so the Romulans are seeking vengeance. A Cardassian movement, the True Way, is reestablishing military, which, if you're familiar at all with Star Trek, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And the Borg have returned in force, and they are not seeking assimilation, they are seeking annihilation. So pretty much the whole peaceful universe thing that Star Trek was hoping for has completely gone topsy-turvy and is now a whole lot like... The game is focused in space combat and ground combat. The space combat in Star Trek Online is something I like because instead of the whole arcadic shooter like it is in Old Republic, you have the full motion of the ship where you can turn, up, down, back, reverse. You can arc around your enemies. That's the more combat I like. Ground combat is, you have two formats. You have the where you have the pull back and you press your keys and he does, or you can hit a key and you'll go over the shoulder with crosshairs will appear, and you can use your mouse to aim your weapon and fire your primary and secondary weapons while you click the middle button and you use your melee. I like that mode and the option to have that mode. It gives it kind of it kind of mixes things up a bit. As of right now, the game has another season coming up. Cryptic Studios and Perfect World, they have another season coming up with new content. Personally, when I first got this game, if you've seen the review that we did, I was ecstatic. I loved it. I took a break from it for a while because I just felt like I was doing the same old thing. As they went on, it got so much better, and the potential is still there. As someone once described to me, who jumped in and played it, he said the learning curve, where you have most games, the learning curve is like a general arc. The learning curve in this game is a straight up arrow. You learn everything right off the bat, and it helps you just ever so much. So it's not like we're throwing you in and be like, it's not like perfect PlanetSide 2 where you just get dropped in and go. You have to figure everything out. It helps you. If you're not a Trekkie, you might be lost on some of the lore. It does give you the option to ask questions, like when you talk to people during missions. It gives you the option to inquire more about it, so it does teach you some of the lore, but on some other things you may be lost. So honestly, I'd say if you were a Trekkie, you should already be playing this game. If not, meh. If you're not a Trekkie, you're not missing anything, but it's not hurt. It is free to play now, so please, try it. Like with Old Republic. I'm not gonna try it just because I have no interest in it. I don't, and, you know, shoot me. But, that about covers it. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna rate these games because I'm not here to rate them. I was just here to explain them and talk about them. I hope I've done a decent job of it. Hopefully next week we'll have a better episode with a panel. We'll talk more in depth on MMOs out. So, okay. This has been Tanner Day. Thank you for watching.